Welcome to the Rick Helps Real Estate Show. We're trying to make sense of the Arizona real estate market and let you know what's going on with the numbers. Happy Cinco de Mayo Day, which is a holiday hijacked by the United States as yet another opportunity to drink beer. I get text messages all the time, as do most real estate agents, and they are "Good morning, Kellogg," and they're just spam, And so I just kind of started messing with them. And there's a Facebook page called Realtors with a Sense of Humor, and we post them. And evidently, we're all getting hit with this one group, and and it doesn't matter what they ask you. They just go, "My name's Michael. I'm an active real estate investor and syndicator looking for qualified realtor to help liquidate one of my properties in the area. Are you available?" So I said, "Which area?" That's how you fish them out, and they give you some blatant answer. And I said, "Well, my area of expertise is recognizing buyers who are not willing to share what area they're interested in." And then the next text says, "Do you work alone or with a team?" So my answer was, "I manage a team of a little over 200 agents, mostly hungry rookies with little or no experience." So the next one that comes in and says, "How do you currently source and prospect your current listings?" This was this morning. And I said, "Well, I don't text them at 5 a.m. They sent me a text at 5 a.m. Ernest says, "I'm curious of the water issues, Arizona effect on the real estate market." A lot of people curious, a lot of different opinions. I've tried to look at those numbers. It's really hard to discern who's right and who's wrong, except Lake Powell is lower than low, and so is Lake Mead, and we just need snow in Colorado and Utah. And it's not happening. It's so dry up there that when the snow melts, it actually is soaking into the ground versus rolling down the Colorado. So I don't know what the impact is going to be. I mean, you have some government agency saying, "Oh, we got 100 years worth of water." I don't know. It's not my sandbox. But this morning we have, I believe it was 6,400 homes on the market. But here's the interesting number. Number of new listings coming on the past 7 days. Good morning, Jackie. We have 4,783 and 3,773 going under contract. So now that's a gap of 1,000. That's pretty huge. And you can see that the number of price changes are continuing to climb. And I'll touch on that in a minute. But what's interesting is we're getting more listings at about 700 every 7 days. And the number of homes going under contract is not really dipping that much. Yes, it's down, but if you've been watching this channel, you know that we're running up between 3,700 and 3,900 on a weekly basis. But we've also been running like between 3,800 and 4,100 homes coming on the market on a weekly basis. All of a sudden, that's jumped on average by about 700 homes. So if that keeps going, then you'll see a change. And it's kind of slow. I mean, you can see here, this is the active listing counts, Central Phoenix, and see that up and down? That's just weekly. So we get our listings peak on Friday and Saturday, and then they dip as they go under contract, and then they come back up the next weekend. So this is the daily count. If I look at the other one that they have on here in active listings, this is the weekly count, and it only gets updated, I believe, on Saturdays. So it's going to lag a little bit. Let's see, active listings, it's showing us down there at 791. That's just for Phoenix. So I can pull it up by different city. But anyway, you get the picture. A lot of news coming out about all around the country, how more and more listings are coming up. And then yesterday, the Fed chairman comes out and says they're going to raise their rate by, half a percentage. And as predicted, mortgage rates actually kind of went down a little bit, not much, but that's because they already anticipated it. The Fed was going, "Here's what we're going to do, here's what we're going to do," and they took relief in him not saying that they're going to go up 0.75, and people looked at that as kind of dovish, and the stock market rallied and said, "Okay, here we go." And then this morning, stock market's tanking. It's like they got up this morning with a hangover and said, "I don't know what we were thinking." So whatever we gained yesterday got erased this morning. And Jackie says, "What price point is growing the fastest on inventory?" I believe it is, if I were to look at it, I think I'd have to go back and double check, but let's see, let's see what this looks like here. Supply situations changed a lot in percentage terms since the beginning of April. So here we go. Homes under 400,000 have increased by 1%. It's probably because there aren't a lot of them left out there. And between 4 and 5, 28%. Between 5 and 6, 50%. That's one of the largest. Until you get up here, look at this. Homes between 1.5 million and 2 million have increased 86%, from 92 to 171 homes. And look at between 2 million and 3 million have increased from 90 to 151. So usually in some of these numbers, a high percentage of a small number is still a small number, because, when I look and say, well, our sales are only at 3,700, and that's down 9%. Well, 300 homes is nothing major. But it is kind of interesting to note that between 1.5 and 2 million, we've gone from only 92 homes to 171. That's a message out there that says that price range and those homeowners want to make a move. They're signaling that maybe they think we're starting to reach a peak and it's time to sell. Anybody's guess, but that's kind of what it looks like. And then getting up here on May the 4th, Star Wars Day yesterday, it says overall sales were down 13% compared to April 2021. We're seeing that. On my 7-day moving average I calculated this morning, we're down 9.8, so that makes sense. Not that I ever questioned their numbers. New home sales were down 15%. That surprised me, where resales were down 13%. So they're dipping slower than the rest of the market, and it's going to be interesting. Some of these contracts, you get in there and you go to buy a house, and some people got in there and said, okay, 3%, and it's not going to be done for 15 months. What's their real rate going to be? How are they going to wrestle through this? If you're in new construction, let me know. Throw something in the comments and tell me what you're seeing out there. The overall median sales price was up 27.5% from April 2021. Remember, those contracts were written in March. New home medium, 496, up 25. Resale medium, up 26.7. A typical home in Maricopa County rose $100,000 in the last 12 months. Yikes. So what's the thud? Well, you're seeing the thud. You're seeing people throwing the listings out there and sales coming down, and this is going to take time to shake out. Will it be considerably slower in June or July, or will we get another uptick kind of like we did last year a little bit? Of course, last year, actually in June, things kind of slowed down a little bit because people were finally released from their COVID imprisonment, and they went to San Diego and just had a great time. Derek says, good morning, Rick. Considering both the secondary home mortgage rates and the water issues up north, what do you think will happen in the market over the next 6 to 12 months? I try not to predict out 6 or 12 months because, even Realtor.com doesn't get it right. Neither does CoreLogic. CoreLogic said we would be down 6.6% last year. I think they kind of had a bit of a miss. And I don't know what the impact of water is going to be. I know it's a big deal right now in Pine and Strawberry, which is north of Payson, up in the White Mountains here, about an hour and a half from here. And some of their wells are going dry. So Prescott got a lot of underground water that they rely on, and they're kind of having some issues as well. Keto said those numbers show real increases. Median sales price, 100,000 increase in 12 months, and people have to lower their expectations unless they're cash buyers. I think a sideways market would be more painful for folks. I think a sideways market is going to be interesting to watch and see what happens to all these investors and iBuyers. Open Doors just finally starting to make some money. They've been losing money for years, buying homes and flipping them. And, they just go in and fix them up a little bit. They don't do major remodels, maybe some countertops, but carpet, flooring, paint it, put it back on, sell it. And they were losing money. I think last quarter they're down like $600 million. And they're going, well, we're going to make it up with volume. Not really. So that's the thing that I want to watch. Terry says, I won't predict for the next 6 minutes. That's just our age, Terry. 12 months from now, I guess if I were just to spit out a guess, it can go either way. There are so many buyers right now that are sitting on their hands waiting. If we did see a move towards a balanced market, and then there's even the slightest decrease in rates, I think it's possible that everybody jumps back in again. And markets do that. Stock market, for example, went up yesterday like crazy, and today it went down. Housing isn't a stock, but there is a psyche out there that says, I'm waiting. And then they're not going to jump in anytime soon until they see their opportunity. And are they going to come out in mass? Who knows? Mortgage rates started higher but improved after the Fed announcement. So this was yesterday morning. So everybody's sitting in the markets waiting to see what's going on. And rates got better. So why Phoenix, of all places, has the fastest growing homes in the U.S.? This is from Time Magazine. Interesting tidbits in here. I want to thank one of our YouTube subscribers for sending this to me. I find some of it interesting and some of it humorous, and I'll tell you why. At first blush, let's see, what's it say here? Elliot Pollock, he's an economist, and he owns a lot of shopping centers, little malls are all over the place in the theater. It's risen by 216% since 2000, while the median salary's only risen 48%. Pollock estimates by 2025, only a third of the area's population will be able to afford to buy a house. That's interesting. Jackie says, I agree. If buyers think they can just buy for list price versus 30K over and still not get it, they will be back. I have numerous buyers who said they're just taking a couple months off. Same here. They're waiting. They're waiting for some indication that the bidding wars are done. Right now, we're not seeing it, but that's going to lag. It says here, at first blush, the demand for homes seems hard to explain. It's uncomfortably hot for several months a year. I got that. Its food culture remains uncelebrated. Really? I guess we don't have a food culture. It does not have sexy employers like Amazon or Nike. Now, somebody tell me why Amazon and Nike are sexy. We have Amazon. We have Intel. That's pretty damn sexy, if you ask me. Nor is it a hub for high-paying industries as finance or tech. Well, maybe not to the degree that you have in San Jose. As a mid-century city, it's not a place rich in historic buildings or revered cultural institutions. The defining characteristics of life in Phoenix for many years, apart from the dry heat, has been its affordability. Have they even been here? So now they talk about the realtor here and says, a healthy housing market, experts say, is one of which there are enough homes for sale that if no new ones came on the market, it would take 4 to 6 months of supply to run out. True. Phoenix has enough for less than 1 month. You'd think people who sold homes for a living would be having a heyday. Well, you'd be wrong. It's not fun. I do not like this market as a realtor, says Nicole Lorig, who's been a licensed realtor in the area for 5 years. The rising prices have attracted a surge in interest from institutional investors, seeing local first home buyers getting outbid by all cash offers and incentives for the seller, like being able to stay in the house for a few more months for free. And you can only get that if if somebody buys your house for cash. Don't get duped into some of these ads that tell you can stay for 6 months. You can only do that if it's a cash buyer and they agree to it. If they financed it, they have to move in within 60 days. Ernest says, do the rates affect commercial real estate before residential? Seems like y'all talk mostly about residential real estate. Yeah, Ernest, I'm not in commercial real estate, so I kind of, don't talk about that as much, but commercial's flying. It's flying off the shelf. They're building places all over the place here. And I don't know if you'd noticed or read, but companies are trying to say, hey, come back to the office now. That was fun. Hope you enjoyed it. We'd like to see you in here. That's kind of a rough one. Here we're talking about, let's see, what was this article? You think Phoenix slated for more population growth. Okay, so they always have these estimates of how many people are going to move here. And this is from the W.P. Carey School of Business at ASU. And it said that we didn't get the normal $20,000 to $25,000 plus for the region because too many people died from COVID. So it's saying along here, sorry for scrolling like this, Professor of Real Estate and Executive Director of Real Estate Development Master Program said the Phoenix Metro currently less than 1 month of existing home inventory available in the marketplace, or about 8,500 homes. Now, wait, didn't I just say there was only 6,400? They're counting homes as under contract, accepting backup as current inventory. So there's always about 2,000 home difference on that. So we've seen a 32% increase in home prices. This is leading us to an affordability issue. I mean, I'm preaching to the choir here. So that's not nothing new. Jackie says commercial lags behind residential always. Here's an interesting one here. This is a survey by Yahoo. Record low in U.S. says it's a good time to buy a house. So we're way down here at 30 going, I don't think it's a good time to buy a house. But here's what's interesting about this chart. Now, I don't know if they actually asked him in 1980 and 95 here if it was a good time to buy a house, but here's the crash here, right about there, okay? And as things started to come up, you notice the survey still, people don't think it's a good time to buy a house. I mean, maybe a little over 60% said it was a good time to buy a house, but this was an amazing time to buy a house. 2011, 2012, and yet the public wasn't recognizing it. Many of them were not in a position to buy a house. But now we're down to 30 and saying it's not a good time to buy a house. And that that's easy to understand because it's harder to get into one now. They're more expensive. The rates are higher. You still got bidding wars. So when you're looking at these numbers and we're seeing an increase in inventory and we're seeing a slight decrease in the number of homes going under contract, don't think you're going to go out this weekend and be the only one putting an offer on a house, especially in some of those active price ranges, because their buyers are still out there. They haven't closed up shop and gone home. Now, if you're thinking about selling, you can't expect to have the number of boots on the ground walking through your house like you would probably in February or January when it was still going absolutely nuts. You will sell your house in a short period of time, provided you don't get overly optimistic and price it above market value. We're reaching the point where you can't get away with that now. Your house is worth $500,000. Let's try $540,000. Well, you're going to kill yourself. So if you price it accordingly, you'll get offers, and you'll get offers pretty quick. It's funny how things change. And right now, if you don't get an offer in 3 days, we're thinking that the whole system is broken and your realtor stinks. So, be careful. It's when the market starts to turn, and I think the Cromford report even made a reference to this, Tina Tambour, and she said, the first thing you're going to see is people are going to start complaining about their real estate agent. They're not marketing it, not making any phone calls. They don't have a good enough database. That's why my house isn't selling. Way before they ever sit down and go, we might have priced it too high. So there's only so much people can do. Yes, you want as much exposure as you can, the great photos. Get that thing listed. Make sure it's the belle of the ball. You don't need to do any of these screwy tricks like doing coming soon. Now, I'll do a coming soon if I don't have my photographer out there yet. I'll take a couple pictures and put them on and say, hey, it's truly coming soon, but we'll have more to show you in a few days. But it doesn't have to be a gimmick. So if you are thinking of listing your home and you want to see a report, send me an email at rick@rickhelps.com. Pat and I have a great report that we send out directly to you. And by send out directly, it comes right from my email, and I don't put you on a spam list. So now if you go to my website and you sign up, you will get some automated responses. I will promise you that. It's what the system does. Jackie says, I had a listing for $925. We got 6 offers. Only one wanted contingency. I was shocked. Shows how many still want to sell but haven't listed yet. Yeah, contingencies are starting to come up just a little bit, but not much. That number has to start climbing like crazy before we start seeing people reducing the price. And you got one for $925 and you got 6 offers. If you're thinking of selling, there's your indicator right there. It's not slowing down. So send me an email, rick@rickhelps.com. Everybody have a great day. You'll see Pat and I on here tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Take care.